This is not your ordinary C3 Corvette. This Corvette was built by Detroit Speed, one of the most top-tier car shops in the world. With its modern LS powertrain, incredible attention to detail, and suspension tuning that is decades ahead of the C3's debut. So what's it like driving an old-school Corvette with modern sports car capability? Let's go for a drive and find out. Mr. Kyle, where are we today?
We are at Detroit Speed.
Never been here. I could not be more excited. I've followed you guys for years, and I know this is one of your guys' development cars for the C3 and the C2, right?
That's correct. So any product line that we design, develop, and offer parts for, we do it, we do a lot of engineering, but we also put parts on the car and get ourselves in the car and develop it.
So this had an LS3 base motor in it, right?
Yes.
And now it's an LS2 base motor in it?
Exactly, yeah. This car is mostly built for autocrossing.
Sure.
Of course, it's nice on the road, as you'll see, but it's just a nice power to weight ratio, and it's super reliable.
Oh, heavy clutch.
Heavy clutch.
Oh, right, no synchros,
high
right?
High power 4-speed,
That's right.
So you just lift the right toe a little bit.
It's essentially a dog box.
Exactly. That's the beauty, is that there's options out there for full frames for these cars,
Sure.
full chassis, but we wanted to be somewhere in the middle, that we wanted a clean sheet of paper, but have people use the stock frame, because there's a lot of good stock frames out there still. So we've got a really nice front system, all new geometry, all new parts, front and rear, that go to the stock frame.
You're right. I reached for a blinker.
Actually, there's one right here.
My muscle memory went, and there's nothing there. What I really admire about what you guys do is the hand craftsmanship of everything. Because I know this is Widen, isn't it, from a normal C3?
It is. So, you can put our parts on to the stock frame, stock body, and we, give you guidance on a rim and backspace.
Sure.
But if you want to run 315s all the way around the car like we have on this,
315.
BF Goodrich Rival S 315 square on it. So, and one of my all-time favorite liveries of any race car is the John Greenwood C3 Corvette that won at Le Mans.
Yeah.
On a BF Goodrich street radial, right? So that was my inspiration. So we got the car done, did the body work, and we wrapped it with that John Greenwood livery.
I feel like this should not be a thing.
I don't know.
Like right now, I'd be terrified in a normal C3. Dead hook. No worries. But like, it's so smooth. Like I was, obviously I short shifted, but I was expecting a little bit of spin or slack, but it was like, nope.
This rear suspension that we've designed, it's a multi-link rear suspension, and it really fixed all the problem areas of a C2, C3 Corvette.
Sure.
With the U-joints and the half shafts taking the lateral loads. Now we've got multi-links, true control arms, and a CV joint, so it fixes all those issues.
Let us roll into board.
Dropped right into it. You just lift your toes just a little bit, breathe the throttle. And
what's done to the motor itself?
So it's a Mass Motorsports LS2 basically. Wet sump, because we do autocross it a lot. I'm sorry, dry sump. So
Sure.
we do autocross it a lot. And basically it's one of their package engines that makes about 575.
Sure.
The Holly Dominator on it, and it's just rock solid.
Simple push rod technology, and easy to fix if something were to go wrong.
Right.
Especially when I'm thinking about autocross, which is tight corners.
Right.
You're gonna have to deal with, usually you're dealing with a lot of oversteer, understeer if you push a little too hard. But you can feel that this thing's pretty forgiving.
It is. It's got a lot in the reserve tank. You can get in, you can make a left here.
Sure.
You can get into a corner and, it still has some that's going to pull you out if you overdrive it.
I find it kind of sad that the C3 is like the unloved stepchild in a way, out of all the Corvettes. Like C1 switches. I don't know.
One corner.
Yeah. Retro that feels this put together, right? Because you get in a retro car, you have this certain expectation if you've never done it before, and you go, wow, I smell like fuel, you know? And there's the cold carbureted motor, the suspension's really outdated, you break a football field away, you know, and this, like, I've always known you guys for taking old cars and making them handle and feel more modern, and 5 minutes in, it's like, better than I could even think, because even the turn-in's real nice, because this uses the Woodward rack, and it's rack and pinion setup, right?
Yeah, it's actually one of our rack and pinions. It's a Woodward column, Woodward release, but it's one of our actually power steering rack and pinions that we came up with when we designed the front suspension. So not only is it our steering geometry that dictated our own rack and pinion, but also all the components that make our suspension geometry. It just makes you want to drive it more, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, like it wants it.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like, you know, I built this in my garage and it just so happens to work today. You know, like the classic buckets were like, these are true bucket seats.
Right.
Like no messing around. You never see these anymore, I feel like.
No, it's a good slim body build seat, right? So you fit well in it.
So all the gauges and everything in the center console, is that all you guys?
Yeah, so what it is of course, that's a stock layout, but it's Classic Instruments that we use a lot. That's their performance gauges. And what's neat is we can even toggle between oil pressure and fuel pressure on the same switch, so we can check both and have one less gauge.
Got it. I almost never drive 4 speeds. So
I always look for a fifth
I
gear.
almost went, and I was like, stop right now. Because I think the last time I drove a 4-speed manual that was race car like was when I was 18. I did that Richard Petty experience.
Oh, right. It would be similar to that.
Well, I think the interior fit and finish is amazing. I love this wheel too.
Yeah.
It just feels right. Even though when I think about it, the wheel was this big when it came from the factory.
No, I mean, even on a smooth road like this, you can still feel the right motions. You know, that it can still, that's the beauty of what we really try and strive for in our product design, suspension geometry, especially shock and spring valving and spring selection, is to have a nice, pleasing ride. It may be a little quick, but it's not harsh.
And also, I know we're kind of talking about it, but you don't see a lot of C3s in general. I feel like when I heard that you guys built a C3 race car, I was like, wow, out of all the generations, huh? Because I know you guys, like we said, you use this for the C2 as well. And I feel like the C2 is like the Stingray that a lot of people go after. But I think it's cool that if people are passionate about the body of the C3, because it's a beautiful car.
Side pipes, flares, it's one of the sexiest body styles ever.
Absolutely.
So.
I remember when I first saw the C3 as a kid going, hey, what's that? They go, it's a Corvette. And then some old guy was like, yeah, but that's a slow one. I'm like, no, like, don't ruin my dreams, you know? So when it comes to the body panels, all that we talked about before, so do you guys do the hood and everything, like the entire thing?
Yeah, so it was a pretty nice car to start with, real basic car, minimal damage, so we put an L88 style hood on it.
Sure.
And then we started with L88 flares, didn't quite like the way they just flowed and at the right height in the tire that we wanted, so we ended up cutting those apart a little bit, guys in the body shop, Michael and Austin, and making the way we wanted it now.
You know, you don't just have one side pipe, you got two. So when you're in here, you're not having a casual conversation, but at the same time, it rides so smooth, so it kind of messes with your brain that you're in this very loud, raw experience. Like, so when it comes to ECU or controller, what do you guys use?
So this is a Holley Dominator system that we use on a lot of our cars. Holley's a great company to work with all these engine updates and conversions, so we've used a lot of the Dominator systems.
So in 2017, I was a judge for the Young Guns for Battle of the Builders.
Yeah.
Talk about pressure.
Right.
I was just pretty blown away, and it was funny. I was always in the back of my brain going, you know, I really wish I could judge a Detroit speed car right now, because my life would be way easier. When did you
absence from General Motors in Detroit in basically December of 2000, formed the company, and really that was my job, January 1st, 2001.
Okay, wow.
And that was in a 2-car garage outside of Detroit, and you know, it was just something that grew a little at a time. We had ideas for a product line, but little cash to get there, so
Sure.
I worked on built cars, did a lot of car modifications to get cash flow to get into a product line
Of course.
that I was designing at the time too. So little by little, you know, we had to work it to earn it, to spend a little more.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things when people say, I want to build cool cars, they don't think about the rest of it. Unfortunately, like, you can build the most beautiful car in the world, but you need to offer something to the table for the world to use. And
Isn't that awesome?
I like, at first, if you're not used to it, you're like, did I break something? But I like it. You have to think, like, I was born in 1990, so I mostly know C5 and on the most. So, like, getting this experience of seeing the purity of these things and understanding why people love them so much, like, I feel like I'm very blessed to be able to drive something like this, because it's like, a lot of people just don't get it until they get to do something, like, or get a ride along.
Right.
They go, wow, now I want to build a retro car, because when you go to Cars and Coffee, you'll see the Chevelle, you'll see all that, but you won't see anything like this. Almost never.
And I think, you know, people expect a lot more out of a car. They expect it to ride well. They expect it to perform braking, acceleration, but it has to handle, and that's what we try and do, is we try and get all that into one package.
And also what I noticed too is I love the tuning of, like, there's good brake pressure, there's all, it feels natural.
Yeah, and you
there's
know,
no learning curve.
This system is a manual system, so we've sized the master cylinders front and rear on a tandem setup, so that it's, you know, very linear. Now, I think, you know, we've talked about it, and it's awesome for you to get in and feel like you're comfortable and you want to drive it harder, because I think that's what our parts do, is they allow you to be confident quickly, be comfortable quickly, and like I said, you bring the modern age with the old school mechanical feel, and you can't let
we'll
you
get
can't
some
help but
silence for
smile.
a second. Yeah. No, I think the key word of this car is confidence, right? It's like when people get in a more modern car that babysits you, you know, and they're like, I can do anything. But with this, you don't have that compromise of all the computers telling you what to do. And at the same time, you have something in this car that a lot of new cars have lost, right? But you have all the amenities, you have AC, you have all that. So what's there not to like? I think at the end of the day, I'm sure your neighbors love you. How can people find you and where to look for you?
Yeah, you know, DetroitSpeed.com is our website. All of our products, a lot of install videos, a lot of videos technically there about our parts, so you can look at different options we have for all of our applications. And of course, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, all the social channels too. Yeah, but yeah, David, thanks for coming out and being with us.
Appreciate it so much.
Man.
All right, guys, on that note, my voice is almost gone already.